Okay.
All right.
Hey, with this slow down on traffic and everything, there's not a lot of people riding dirty, and they tried to, stop the marijuana sales out in Denver, and then it was determined it was marijuana is an essential item for the recreational stores and curbside service. I don't know if you remember Robert's Lounge back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Where you could get curbside service of joints back in the day. It was all just seeds and stems in the paper, though, for a buck a piece back at Roberts. Curbside service.
Roberts was an interesting place, for sure.
Was there a question there?
I don't know, but it
You
might
had
be
a
a good
question
opportunity
there?
for me to talk about our priorities in policing.
I mean,
Yes,
okay.
because
With
he
people-
does have some serious things to talk about today.
Well, hold on. So he did bring up something. I mean, I got something that I wanted to ask you there, and that is with people now quarantining or social distance, have your calls decreased?
Yeah.
Are people being behaved?
I went back.
Being behaved or behaving?
Good question.
Thank you.
I went back yesterday, and I looked at. I went backwards 7 days and looked at the same 7-day period in 2019, and we're down about 500 calls for service. And I guess you can't just say calls for service when you think about the content there, because that also, if I sit down at my desk and I Google up,
I'll retape that
April,
so I get the beginning.
March 5th, March 22nd, 12.
They're still homeless now?
No, he's not homeless. This makes more money than me, but I make fun of him.
Sean homeless now? 2845966.
No, I'm not.
Rock with us on Twitter at KXNO Morning Rush. It's the Morning Rush on 1460 KXNO, and now 106.3 FM.
Funds financing.
This morning's conversation with 5-0, starting Paul Parisic of the Des Moines Police Department, brought to you by Croto. All right, 5-0, I said I got a question for you.
Right on.
All right, so it's gun related. It's not. Maybe it's not really a question. I just want to have the conversation, and that is I'm a libertarian, okay, and this will drive people nuts, but I don't care what gun anybody has. They can have a bazooka. I don't care as long as you're using it lawfully and whatever. I don't personally have guns. I've never been a gun guy. A buddy of mine went to Shields the other night, and he's like, God, I went to get my kid a bucket of balls. He goes, place was packed, and it was all in the guns and ammo department. There was no ammo left in the store, and they had to separate all the gun people to create a line because people were now hoarding guns. And for the first time in my life, I thought, should I get a gun? Do I need a gun? Do I a gun? I'm not a gun guy. So if I'm not a gun guy, is it smart for me to go learn gun safety and how to do all this, or should I just say, if you're not a gun guy, don't have a gun?
Exactly.
Well, obviously it's personal choice. I get the question you're asking me. If you're not a gun guy, if you don't feel comfortable with it, and it's not your gig, then don't do it, because you're not going to do it right.
And here's probably why I never felt. I don't think I ever felt comfortable with it when my kids were young. Does that make? It's now that my kids are older. I mean, 3 are pretty much gone. I got Greta left. Maybe I'm feeling a little more secure about having something like that in the house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely does.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but if you want to have a gun, and you're talking about for personal safety, right, Travis?
Yes.
You have to be prepared to kill someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. A lot more than what people think. And again, it's a messy can of worms when you start talking about guns, and just particularly in the context here. I'm sure you guys have had a toilet paper conversation at one point, and we were talking about that, and I've seen a lot of media folks with commentaries on why are people hoarding toilet paper, and I think you go into the store and you look, like everybody else is buying that, so I better buy that. I think when you look at the gun piece, there is part of that right now. People are like, oh my gosh, somebody knows something I don't know, and they're buying guns, so maybe I should buy one. But if you want to buy a gun, buy a gun. But just remember that it comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility. And what are you going to do with it when this is over and you realize I don't need a gun? And that's kind of where we come in.
So can I borrow a gun? And what I mean, okay, let me tell you the scenario I have. So my brother-in-law, who lives in the same town that I do, probably has about, I don't know, probably 35 guns, all in a gun safe. And my wife was like, well, if you want a gun during this unsettled time, just go borrow one and have it in the house. Would that be wrong because it's not licensed in my name and it's not my gun?
I don't know what the law is over in Nebraska, but over here, no.
That wouldn't be a problem?
No, you don't register a gun. I mean, people have this conception that you have to register a gun with the Des Moines Police Department. No, we don't know who has a gun.
Okay.
We can't just look up your address and come to your house because you have a gun. You know, that's there are agencies that could, but that's not what the purpose of that is.
Okay.
So no, you can do that. It's again, you know, it's a big personal choice that comes with a lot of responsibility.
You mentioned toilet paper. My wife, and I don't know if this is accurate, but she was asking people at Costco yesterday about, you know, why there isn't enough toilet paper. And it's not really a manufacturing deal, it's more of a supply chain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, are you ready for this? And this makes perfect sense. Because toilet paper is so light that it's usually an add-on to the back of the truck. You'll never, Costco and all these places will never send a full truckload of toilet paper because it's a waste of hauling. Does that make sense? So as you fill up the truck, the last thing to get hauled out is like throw in the light toilet paper. You throw in a couple pallets and call it good. So they're saying that all this hoarding, because people usually don't do it, has really thrown the supply chain off because nobody sends full truckloads of TP.
But
Speaking of toilet paper, would you like to have some money to buy more toilet paper to hoard?
Well, you hear Heather Cakes and iHeartRadio want to help you with your bills. Text the keyword thanks to 200-200 right now for your chance to win $1,000. That's thanks to 200-200. Standard message and data rates apply.
Reverend Ray's been waiting on hold. Reverend Ray, let's hear your crow-toe sound, and what's your question? He just let out a big thing of smoke out of his mouth.
Hey, Marlon. I've never been one. I've never actually owned any. It's something like Christmas baseball going.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, with this slowdown on traffic and everything, 50, there's not a lot of people riding dirty, and they tried to, stop the marijuana sales out in Denver, and then it was determined it was marijuana is an essential item for the recreational stores and curbside service. I don't know if you remember Robert's Lounge back in the 80s.
oh yeah,
Where you could get the curbside service of joints back in the day. It was all just seeds and stems in the paper, though, for a buck a piece back at Roberts. Curbside service.
Roberts was an interesting place for sure.
Was there a question there?
I don't know, but
Do
it
you
might
have
be
a
a good
question
opportunity
there?
for me to talk about our priorities in policing.
I mean,
Yes,
okay.
because
With
he
people-
does have some serious things to talk about today.
Hold on. So he did bring up something. I mean, I got something that I wanted to ask in there, and that is with people now quarantining or social distance, have your calls decreased? Are people being hazed?
You know, I went
Being hazed or being behaving?
good question.
Thank you.
I went back yesterday. I went backwards 7 days and looked at the same 7
tomorrow.
period in 2019, and we're down about 500 calls for service. And I guess you can't just say calls for service when you think about the content there, because that also, if I sit down at my desk and I Google up, April or March 15th through March 22nd, 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. and look, that'll show everything we've done, whether it's a traffic stop or our initiated activity plus the calls for service. So when you look at that whole big picture, we're down about 500. I guess you'd call them incidents or contacts in that time frame. So what that tells us is the obvious things: fewer traffic. There's less traffic on the roads, so there's fewer people crashing into each other. We're not getting the loud music, whether it's from a bar or from a party, or those things are going down. And our initiated activity certainly gone down as we try and exercise a lot of discretion in what our priorities are. So, yeah, things are more peaceful. I walked over and I was talking to our robbery homicide detectives yesterday about their caseload, and they said they've seen a small dip. Obviously we've had one major crime that occurred in this time period. We had one murder, but outside of that, they said the big stuff is kind of idle. But the little stuff is still coming in, because people are still going to be jackasses. You still got guys violating no contact orders. You still have, domestic disputes. You still got people harassing. So those things are still going on.
By the way, speaking of going over to talk to Robert Homicide, the Des Moines Police Department is going to start implementing a few things to make sure that all of you stay healthy too.
Good job. Well, we've done a lot. I think probably one of the first things, and keeping our workforce healthy is our priority. And there's a variety of reasons for that. Obviously, we need to be here to take care of the community. But, when you think about Des Moines, it's not just, the community that we serve, it's where we live. This is where our friends and family are. So we've got a big investment in keeping ourselves healthy so we keep the people around us healthy. Now, you look at it from a professional perspective, and, we don't want to be, when you look at the incubation period and all these variables associated with COVID-19, we don't want to be a carrier. We don't want to go from one house to the next, solving people's problems or helping people out and taking this virus with us. So staying healthy is huge. I mean, huge for us. So we've done things like we don't have roll call. We're not putting 25 cops in a room arm to arm, BSing and laughing and joking and then getting the information that we need to get out for our day. We've got a system in place where we can share that information and check the accountability on who's here without actually doing that. We've obviously upped our disinfecting game, and big shout out to Lifelight up at Unity Point. They had a thing this weekend, Travis, called Make Your Squad Sparkle. Yeah. Where you could bring in your police car, your ambulance. It didn't matter where you were from, as long as you were a first responder. Sean, you could have taken in the Buick. And
as a first responder,
yeah,
and
that's what I'm talking about, right, Sean?
Lifelight would have cleaned it for you.
They cleaned our cars inside and out, disinfected them down. They hooked us up with a bunch of extra like disinfecting hand wipes and stuff. I mean, they really stepped up. Like they don't have it.
I didn't receive my badge till today, though.
Oh well, I would have vouched for you. But I mean, like the healthcare industry doesn't have enough on their plate, and they were doing this to help stop that chain of the virus spreading. Interesting thing there, when people are talking about our caseload, I put a photograph on Facebook, Police Department's Facebook page, and one of the officers standing in there was one that Heather and I talked to Saturday while we were out and about, trying to support our local businesses on our little downtown walk. We told her about it. She took her car up there, got it cleaned, because I was teasing her about how filthy her car was. And then her next official act after that was to help pull a suicidal kid out of the river. So, I mean, there's all these things we're doing differently, and then there's business as usual, So we're still doing the things that we need to do to keep the community safe. And what Heather was talking about with robbery and homicide, we're shifting our detectives so that we don't have the same thing as roll call. We don't have all those people in the room at once, so that we can make sure we keep our folks healthy, because we know that it's going to happen. Somebody in our organization will get it. We want to minimize the spread. We've sent some non-essential staff. We've got them working from home. We've got a couple pregnant officers who we definitely said you need to be home, and we'll get you some work to keep you involved. But there's a lot of different things we're doing.
284-5966. Interact with us on Twitter at KXNO Morning Rush. Take a break, come back. We'll hear from Kirk Ferentz on why you should stay in your house. You can stick around for a little bit, 5-0?
Yeah, I'll write it out.
All right. Atta boy. Way to be a team player. Way to lead by example.
Hey, man, you're my people now.
Yeah, you're one of the few guests that has clearance to be in the building.
I do have another question for you when we come back to.
I got another answer.
Oh, no. So Morning Rush on 1460 KXNO, and now 106.3 FM.